Well, Ann Coulter, of course, best-selling author, great columnist. You go to AnnCoulter.com. You get her new column, just came out, AnnCoulter.com. And make sure you get her book, In Trump We Trust, the best Trump book out there, In Trump We Trust. Ann Coulter, how you doing?
Fantastic. How are you, Mark Simone?
Very good. This Obamacare fix, it's not going to happen in one step. Obviously, it's a complicated mess. It'll take a while. But what do you think of the proposals so far?
Oh, good grief. Haven't you been following my Twitter feed?
Yes, that's why I asked you. But overall confidence, high, low?
Total disaster. Why does no one in Congress understand the free market or on TV? I just saw some guy on CNN saying, but how do you make sure that everyone is covered, and how do you bring people in? You need these subsidies. How do we make sure that all Americans are clothed? Solve the people walking around naked problem by allowing us to buy clothes on the free market. And as I said in a column a few weeks ago, we know how much catastrophic health care, which is basically what most people want, certainly young, healthy people, the risk-averse. But you know, the big thing is, how do we get young people to sign up? I used to know lots of young people, perfectly responsible young people, not a lot, but a few, who said, you know, screw it, I'm healthy, I'm not paying for this. Well, we know how much real health insurance would cost. It would be about $50 a month. And we know that because Obamacare was required by, thank God for the Establishment Clause, to allow Christian groups a waiver. They don't have to comply with Obamacare. So they can sell a product that is basically health insurance. They're not allowed to call it insurance. You have to, you know, sign up and say, you know, I'm a Christian, and you might be asked to give a charitable donation, but that's how it's pitched. It covers any sort of catastrophic problem for you and your family, and it's $50 a month. That's with a teeny tiny group of potential members, and many don't know about it. Many are already covered by employer or their spouse's health care. $50 a month. On a free market, it would probably go down to $20 or $30 a month, because everyone would sign up for it. And by the way, I never thought the individual mandate, people have to get this out of their head. That wasn't the problem with Obamacare. The reason we all became, people on my side, people who wanted to oppose Obamacare because it was a monstrosity, the reason for the fixation on the individual mandate was because that was a constitutional argument, that the federal government does not have the authority to be mandating that all Americans do something. The states do.
Yeah.
That goes back to colonial times. They used to mandate that, you know, every able-bodied man be armed in case the redcoats were coming. There's nothing the matter with the mandate per se, but you don't need it. There isn't a mandate to buy car insurance.
Well, there is if you're going to drive.
Some states there are, and some that for many years there weren't. You just buy it. I think the reason it became a mandate was because, what does everything go back to, Mark Simone?
Oh,
immigration.
People
running across, getting in crashes, and completely uninsured and fleeing. Not that with that problem.
You know, actually, I guess I overpay for health care. Mine's $60 a month.
Really?
Well, if you're a member of SAG or AFTRA, the big unions, it's pretty good coverage. It's $60 a month.
Oh.
Well,
my separate health insurance, my Obamacare plan, is $700 a month, and nothing is paid for.
Well,
that's why I even pay for it.
And this is what Democrats have to realize, and these liberals, it never quite sunk in. You can't just set up that plan and it's $700 a month, which is killing families' bank accounts and budgets.
Yeah.
And you can't just leave that like that and not fix this.
No, I know, and this plan doesn't fix it at all. And as I describe in Trump We Trust, one of the things that was so great about Trump is that he's not a politician, so when he's asked a question, he answers it. It's so refreshing and new, all the rest of them. And I go through quoting them. They always will say things like, well, people are frustrated. And then they describe what the problem is, but they never give you an answer. Not Trump. If you ask him a question, he gives you an answer, as he did on health care, which these idiot politicians, I don't know, again, they don't understand the free market. In that very first debate, Donald Trump started talking about the lines around the states. That is the holy grail of health care reform. I know they can't grasp, you know, how it is we all manage to get food without an individual mandate to purchase food. It's known as the free market. But if we could just buy insurance over state lines, the most corrupt institutions in all of America are the state insurance commissions. Why? They have an enormous amount of power. That's why. Trump was right about that. So each state insurance commission has, over the years, developed more and more mandates for, if you want insurance in case you're hit by a Mack truck or you get a dread disease, you must also pay for, gambling addiction therapy. And why does that get added by the insurance commissioner state by state? Because the people who provide gambling addiction therapy are paying them.
Yes. Well, okay, round one on this fix might not be great, but give it a year.
It's a total disaster. It's no better than Obamacare. I want the names of the people involved, and just for fun, I want their IQ scores.
Okay, but it's going to be a few rounds to get this fixed. But it's one thing Democrats...
That's the big thing, though, buying insurance across state lines. The lines. Remember, that's what Trump talked about, and they all giggled at him for it. Well, it doesn't have that. It just sends it back to the states, so we'll have 50 different heinous Obama. Your premium is still going to be $700 a month, and it still won't pay for anything because you'll be busy paying for all the therapies that, the aromatherapy ladies paid off the insurance commissioners to make it a mandate in every insurance sold in whatever state you're living in.
Yeah, for people who don't understand, in every state, you're only allowed 2 or 3 choices of health care. There's actually 1,300 healthcare companies in America. If you got rid of the state borderlines, you'd have 1,300 choices, bringing prices down and services up. So
right, and even if there are 1,300 insurance companies operating in a state, if the state says, "Oh, sure, you can sell insurance in our state," here are the rules. You are required to cover, X, Y, Z, except it's A through Z and run through the alphabet over and over again, which is nothing anyone would want to buy in health insurance.
Yeah, but he'll get that fixed at some point. Hey, can you imagine if there were only 2 clothing stores allowed per state, what the prices would be?
And the state clothing commissioners would tell you, and for shoes, they must all have only a half-inch heel, and they must have laces, and because the lace manufacturers
have lobbyists. So, hey, we haven't talked to you since Saturday morning. The tweets, the wiretaps, being surveillance. I think he's 100% right. I think he will prove that at some point.
Yes, we were all privately, I guess, I meant to tweet this out, talking about this as soon as the Michael Flynn story broke. Michael Flynn, first, for those of you who don't know, there was absolutely nothing wrong with Michael Flynn talking to Russian representatives or talking specifically about the sanctions. He was about to go to work for the next president of the United States. Nothing wrong with that. The problem was, for whatever reason, perhaps he misremembered, but it doesn't sound like it, he was not fully honest about that with Pence. So that's why he was asked to resign. But do not confuse that with there being any problem with Michael Flynn talking to the Russians. What was shocking about that story isn't that he talked to the Russians, isn't even that he was less than truthful, evidently, in talking to the vice president about it. What is shocking about that story is that it came out from our intelligence agencies. Michael Flynn was a private citizen then. How do they know not only that the phone calls were made, but what was being talked about?
Well, they'll say they were tapping the Russian ambassador, that they were wiretapping him. But why are they wiretapping him? He seems like a lovely guy.
They seem to know about an awful lot of conversations, and now, more and more of this is being admitted. No, he's got to clear out, the president, has got to clear out these intelligence agencies. This is totally outrageous. They're out of control. I worked for the Senate Judiciary Committee years ago, and I remember at the time how weird it was that of all the agencies, Congress has oversight over the executive branch agencies, such as the CIA. But when it came to the CIA, they just, submit a one-page request. We need $8 gazillion. Nope, can't tell you what we're doing. And I kept saying to everybody, they're over there drinking pina coladas.
Yeah. Hey, how about if we hire WikiLeaks? They seem to know what they're doing. It's a pretty good spy agency. We could use them.
Ooh, that was pretty big what came out yesterday.
Yeah, we hire them. It seems like 2 guys in hiding in a basement. A lot cheaper. They seem pretty
there's
effective?
Definitely, here, let me put it this way. There is more evidence that the Obama administration was surveilling the opposition presidential candidate and his team than there is that the Russians were trying to hack the election.
Yeah.
That's one that just won't die. They have absolutely no evidence for it. As we have discussed before, one of my favorite ones, which I tweeted out, I may tweet it out again just because everybody should read it, is by this guy, I think it's a guy, Gesson in the New York Review of Books, clearly not a Trump fan. He, among many others, went through page by page that, 25-page intelligence report. 3 or 12, however many intelligence. We agreed the Russians wanted Trump to win and they were hacking the election. And among many others, I just think he laid it out beautifully. He goes through and says, there's nothing here. It's just your bald allegations.
Tweet that out again. I want to read that. Tweet that out.
It's really good.
All right. Well, everybody go to AnnCoulter.com. You get her new column there, AnnCoulter.com, and get her book, In Trump We Trust. And, of course, follow her on Twitter and Facebook. And Ann Coulter, thanks for being with us.
Good to talk to you, Mark Simone. Bye-bye.
Take care.